Just kidding. My name is Sean Halley. You guys are standing in the Line 6 booth, I imagine, to hear about live sound. So we've recently introduced a number of different live sound products. I want to tell you why we did them and how they work. So for one, anyone that mixes themselves while playing faces the same challenges no matter what kind of music they play. If you're going to get really good mixes in all the places that you play, it usually requires that you're a good sound guy. Unfortunately, that takes a long time to develop that skill. It would be nice if you could have a device or a series of devices that would help you get there faster. As well, being a musician and a performer is very different than being a technical person mentally. And having to switch back and forth between performing and being a technical guy can be really disconnecting to your performance. So we've introduced two different products and product lines to combat that. So the first is a series of networkable self-powered loudspeakers called StageSource. So this is the StageSource L3T. It is indeed networkable, self-powered. It's 1400 watts and has the ability to act as a standalone PA. So it has on the side, someone's really tightened down that stand nicely. It's very tough to move now. So you have a 2-channel digital console built right into the speaker. You have mic inputs, EQ with sweepable mid. You have digital effects built right in. You have modulation effect and a digital reverb built right into the speaker. If you think about how one of the worst things to deal with when you're playing live, it's feedback. It actually has a feedback suppressor circuit built right into the speaker. So if you enable that, it will scan the entire audio band and remove up to 12 frequencies that are giving you a problem. You don't have to know how it works. It does it automatically. Now, we figured that in this kind of scenario, this speaker will probably be used a lot with acoustic instruments. So we've actually included Variax acoustic modeling right inside the speaker. So if you have a rather uninspiring piezoelectric acoustic sound and you'd like to inject or infer the resonance of an acoustically mic'd guitar, you can do that. Dial in the size of the body that you like. I'll show you how that works in a minute. So it's very intelligent. You don't actually have to worry about how it works. You just turn on the knobs and they do the job for you. Now if you go to the back panel, you have a bunch more stuff there. So you have line inputs on the top. Apparently I'm a little ahead there. You have line inputs on the top. So they have coaxial stereo inputs. So you can use it as obviously a monitor, but you have stereo coax inputs. So you can use an MP3 player, a mixer, drum machine. So if you want to play over tracks while live, you can do that. So you're talking about a 4-channel system really, not a 2-channel system. And also we'll talk about how this works further in a stereo environment in a minute. Now below that you have the loop outs and the mix outs, master volume knob. But below that you have a very important part of the speaker that we're calling smart speaker modes. The speaker has the ability to retune itself depending on what you need it to do at the time. So its default behavior is PA mode, but if you're doing a DJ gig and you're only using pre-recorded tracks, you can go into playback mode and it will give you high-end and low-end extension to be more exciting sounding. If you have a Pod HD500, for instance, and you want the speaker to act like a 212 speaker cabinet, you can do that. The speaker itself has an accelerometer built into it. So it knows when it's standing straight up or when it's lying on its side. So if you lay the speaker on its side, it automatically configures itself as a 4-wedge. Changes the way that it fires audio up at the performer. So you don't have to know how any of that stuff works, you just select it and it works. Now below that you have the Line 6 link jack. So I'll talk about this more in a moment, but all you need to know right now is that Line 6 link is a protocol we came up with that passes audio and performance data along the same connection. So when you connect two Line 6 link enabled devices together, they reconfigure how they behave to better suit what they've just been connected to. So we could demonstrate the speaker by screaming, like those people are doing, but I don't think we're going to do that. It's pretty awesome, actually. Instead, I figured maybe we'd do something musical, so I'd like to invite up Jim Boja, a recording artist from Philadelphia, to play some music to the speakers. That's actually awesome. I wish we could do that. But it's much too early in the morning for us to scream. Awesome! Okay, so now, this whole Variax acoustic modeling thing. So here's the sound of the guitar. It's nice. It'd be better this way though. raw guitar, or that, which is actually quite nice. Jim Bojan. You need a vocal mic?
If I sing into the mic, that's
exactly.
into the speaker.
Exactly. He's so good he doesn't need a vocal mic.
So much better.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm gonna go the complete opposite direction and do kind of a morning. If you're traveling through the North Country fast, where the wind hits heavy on the borderline, remember me to one who live there, for she was once a true love of mine. So if you're traveling through the North Country Fair, where the wind hits heavy on the borderline, remember me to one who live there, for she was once a true love.
Jim Bojan. Thanks, brother. Way too much talking last night in loud bars to sing like that, ladies and gentlemen. So, that was one speaker. So, at 1400 watts, it does a really nice job of filling up even a medium-sized room. Now, if you need more, and you need to start connecting these devices together, you start talking about this whole Line 6 Link idea. So, the design philosophy behind Line 6 Link is when you connect Line 6 Link enabled devices together, you get more. But you don't have to know how it works, it automatically configures things for you. So if you plug these tops into these subwoofers, the crossovers automatically configure themselves so that the speakers are running more efficiently. When you connect two L3Ts together over Line 6 Link, all the stuff that was stereo, but couldn't be because you only had one speaker, now is. So the reverb is stereo. The modulation effect is now stereo, and those line inputs that were on one speaker now go to both speakers. And the input panels multi. So where you had an 8-channel system before, or so where you had a 4-channel system before, now you have 8. So you don't have to know how it works, all you have to do is connect them and it does all the work for you. So if you have all these speakers and you need to start managing them, if you need more EQ and more compression and you need more sort of complex routing, at some point you're going to need a console. And so the other companion product to this is the StageScape M20D digital touchscreen mixer. So it's a 20-input digital console with auto-trimmable mic preamps, with auto-sensing hardware jacks. It actually has a 7-inch touchscreen in the middle of the console that has a completely new idea about how you might interact with a mixing surface. It has a ton of DSP inside for channel-by-channel processing for custom channel strips. It has the same feedback circuit that's in the speakers. It has the ability to be controlled by an iPad, so you can walk out in front and do your front-of-house mixes from where your audience is hearing them. And it also has the ability to be used as a recorder. So if you connect a USB 2.0 drive right to the mixer, it will record all of the inputs that are coming into the mixer discreetly to the hard drive. So when you push play, those signals come back into the mixer exactly where they left, giving you the ability to do a virtual sound check, basically. The band can play for 5 minutes, they go off to dinner, and the one guy stays behind and completes the mix with all of the individual tracks. It can work as an interface for a digital audio workstation. I'll show you how that works. And it also, with no hardware connected at all, has the ability to do what we call a quick capture, which is up to 20 seconds of all of the audio coming into the mixer. And I'll definitely show you that in a minute. Now, when you see the mixer, this is what it sort of looks like. So the paradigm is as a stage. You create channel strips on the stage that are people or instruments and move them to wherever you'd like to on stage, so that what you're seeing on the console and what you're seeing on stage are roughly the same thing, and you can then modify them. These pictures that are along the bottom are actually not necessarily pretty pictures. They represent presets, entire custom channel strips based upon the instruments that you'll be connecting to the console. So it will create a custom channel strip for whatever you select. If you select a kick drum, it will do completely different things than if you were to select a backing vocal preset, for instance. Making a channel is just as easy as plugging it in. Remember, it's hardware jacks, so here's my microphone. Let's plug it in. And now it made a new channel strip for me. So now I have a new mic. So I can select any of these presets, and it'll automatically change how that channel works. So you can see that it EQ'd me a little bit, probably changed some of the other parameters, so it automatically goes through and shapes the device or the channel that you've selected. So think about how you interact with a real sound guy. If you're not a technical person, you don't ask for things of your sound guy in a specific way. You don't say, give me 4K more on my vocal and 200 hertz more on my low end. You say, can it be fatter? Can it be brighter? And usually, can it be louder, right? So, we've given you the ability to interact with the console in much the same way. So if you hit the tweak page, you come up with an easy channel strip. This is the first view you get of the channel strip. And you have these touchpads, and they're populated with words as opposed to values. So body, bright, dark, and deep. The idea being, you move your finger across the pad towards the word that you recognize, and underneath the hood, the console changes a bunch of parameters at once to get you what you're asking for. So, so underneath the hood, it's going through and modifying a bunch of EQ parameters for me to get me what I'm asking for, not just one. So this kind of parameter, this kind of paradigm works for the tone, for the delay, for the compression. And I realized that this kind of behavior, if you are knowledgeable about how EQ works, it might be kind of frightening because you always want to know what's going on. So if you're that kind of a person, then you can hit the deep tweak section and see the channel strip that's created for you. So on the left-hand side are all the custom processing in that order. So on this channel strip, it created a dynamic EQ, which you can use like a de-esser in this situation. It created a compressor for me, and also a 6-band parametric EQ, and it came up with a curve already. So I can modify this in much the same way. Right? So I have the ability to interact with the console in 2 different ways. Either I ask it what I'd like, and it makes the decisions for me, or if I know what I want, then I can move those parameters myself. Now, when you start having more accoutrement to your system, you need to start being able to manage these monitors. So if I hit the monitor tab, check this out. So remember, these guys are hardware sensing jacks. That might have just screwed me for later, but okay, so if I plug in the monitors here, see that, I can automatically create some monitors for me and I can move them wherever I want. And now if I hit the monitor tab, you can see that the monitor that I'm going to be sending signal to is now surrounded by a triangle graphic. So, as I send stuff to it, it makes this great asteroids graphic. Right? So, it's a very easy graphic to understand in terms of which monitor you're sending to. So it's very easy. So, now, you're getting closer to your mix already. You're using presets. So imagine being able to create these custom channel strips with everything you connect. Kick drum, snare drum, bass guitar, acoustic guitar, electric guitar. You're already way closer to a good mix just by using these presets. But it can also help you create a much better mix over time. Give you a scenario. You're a band. You play the same club Friday and Saturday nights every other week. So Friday night you get there, you set up, you do a sound check, and you keep tweaking all the way through Friday night. By the time you get to the end of Saturday night, it finally sounds great. You've been tweaking for 2 days. Unfortunately, when you tear down and come back 2 weeks later, you have to start over. With this system, all you have to do is save the last state that you left on Saturday night, and it remembers everything. EQ, effects, monitor sends, crossover points, everything. and recall the place where you left on Saturday when you start the next Friday. So every time you play the club, you learn more and it gets better. It's one of the only systems in the world that can help you do that. So if I want to recall a new preset, say Jim and I are going to play a new tune. So now I have a completely different setup. You can see I have more people, I have acoustic guitars, I have monitors, I have all sorts of stuff. So you can do that for any sort of, it'll reconfigure the entire console for you. Now, that thing I told you about quick capture, it's sort of a life changer in some ways for a musician who makes themselves. So I'm going to have Jim come up and play some stuff. I'm going to show you how this quick capture thing works, because it's kind of important, actually. So we got some...
Well, she's walking through the clouds with a circus man running round. Butterflies and zebras and moonbeams and fairy tales is all she ever talked about. Riding 'neath the wind. When I'm sad, she comes to me with 1,000 smiles she gives to me for free. It's alright, she said. Take anything you want from me. Well, she's walking through the clouds with a circus man running round.
So now I can finish my mix. That's not a stereo mix.
Butterflies and zebras.
I still have control over all the channels. So I still have control over all the channels. It didn't just record a stereo mix off the board, it recorded all of the channels coming into the console.
And round. Butterflies and zebras.
So think about what that's like as a live performer. If I'm standing up on stage at a gig, and I have a band, I can play for 20 seconds, take my iPad out into the audience, before there's an audience there at a sound check, play that recording, and mix the entire front of house mix before anyone even gets there. And I don't have to do it from here. These speakers are designed to sound really good from 30 feet away. The last thing you want to do is stand right next to them and make critical EQ decisions. You might be hurting someone 20 feet away. So, if you need more, and you need to start expanding your system, you sort of run into one of the basic problems with live sound systems that has existed since the beginning of time. And that is the fact that they do not scale well. So if you buy a PA for a bistro kind of gig, for something like this size, traditionally, that PA does a great job at your one little gig. But if you want to play for a much larger audience, that little PA that you bought can't help you. Conversely, if you have a really large system, and you want to be able to take that system apart and play a smaller gig, that doesn't work either. So this is the only system in the world where your investment that you made here on one speaker, as you continue to increase the size of the system, you never lose the value of the investment, because you can always break the system back apart into smaller pieces to use it in any way you can sort of figure out. So, now for the set for the NAMM show, we actually had Colby Calais come and play with the band. So we had a full 10,000 watt StageSource system with a StageScape mixer. So basically 4 tops, 4 subs on each side, a bunch of different monitors. And so what I wanted to show you was that the speakers actually sound great, because I don't have any kick drum here to show you for low end, but also I wanted to show you basically the idea of playing tracks from a digital audio workstation back through the console. So these tracks were recorded through the console, and now they're going to be playing back discreetly through this. So I'm going to recall this new preset, Give me a second, and then we'll go from there. So stand by.
Standing here and you hold my hand, pull me towards you, and we start to dance all around us. I see nobody here.
So you get the idea. These are a ton of L3T speakers. You have line 6 guitar amps, line 6 guitar, line 6 wireless systems, line 6 bass system, line 6 MIDI controllers. We're trying to control the stage, basically, because we want to empower musicians to be better suited to performing than being tech people. Because basically, the gear can help you get there a lot faster. So we've got another demo in a while. I'll see you guys in a bit. Thank you very much. Cheers.